All right, everybody, come on in. We're gonna give y'all a minute to fill the room.
Feel this room.
Y'all so
Come
safe.
in, come 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 in. Come
When I
on in,
say y'all
come on
so
in,
safe.
come on in, come on in.
We had
Welcome
947 followers.
ah,
Uh-huh.
into this
All
place.
right, come
You,
on, guys. Come on in. Come on in. Hey. Hey, Miss Carolyn.
hey y'all.
How are y'all
Miss
tonight?
Cargill,
Hey,
faithful, her
Sean.
Kashana.
Hey Miss Cargill.
Faithful, faithful,
When I say they are faithful.
faithful, faithful. There goes Danny. She'll know what that's
What
for.
up,
Yeah, I
Danny?
was just gonna
When
say.
I
I was
say
just
Hey,
about
it,
to ask
there goes
what
Adrian. We're
Danny
going to
was.
make Danny a trustee.
You
when
hear
I say I'm
me?
finna make Danny
Her
be
a
part of my life
trustee.
insurance
Hey,
policy,
Joey. You said what?
Danny finna be a part of my life insurance policy. She's finna be a secondary
Beneficiary.
benefactor.
Hey,
Benefactor.
benefactor. Beneficiary?
Oh, see, that's how
Yeah,
you
they
know I ain't
mean
got
the same,
insurance.
though. They mean the same.
I know
Yo,
you better get some, Pauletta.
I got some.
She got, girl,
You know she under just
you ain't
laugh.
got serious now. She just stopped like, then lift it
Girl,
up.
don't play no game.
Lord.
I'm 51 in these streets. I
Hey,
gotta have some
Robin.
insurance.
How are you
Listen.
tonight? All right, y'all, let's get started. Let's get on in here so we can possibly see if we can get out in and out in 30 minutes tonight.
Come
Let's
on.
see what we can do. I know, I know. Hey, I said see. But we are talking about part two, the impact of grief. But listen, y'all, we want to spin the block. We want to spin the block and not talk about it in the traditional sense of when you hear the word grief. But we want to tap into tonight grieving relationships, like grieving the end of relationships that ended because of betrayal or some kind of event or something that happened sporadically that caused the friendship, relationship, or whatever kind of ship it was to end. And I don't think a lot of times people talk about that there is grief attached to relationships,
Hmm.
even family relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, business relationships. Specifically, I don't know why tonight I'm kind of leaning towards romantic and friendships, things
Mm.
that may have happened. Just like you can have a death that's sudden, you can have a sudden situation within a friendship or a sudden situation within a romantic relationship that causes that thing to end. Like it could be, I think Jenna was talking about betrayal.
Hmm.
Betrayal been a huge reason why some of those things happen. So we're gonna kind of get on that, June. I'm gonna shoot it to you, and so let's
Okay.
pick it up, and we'll just flow from there.
The interesting, what I say is the most interesting thing about uh ex, what happens to you emotionally when you experience betrayal. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just speaking from a place of experience. Maybe somebody else can bear witness, but the most interesting thing that happens to you when you experience betrayal, it's hard for you to get to acknowledging that it hurt,
Hmm.
right? You because of who, because it, calling it hurt. You know what I mean? We call it. Uh, we pissed, we angry. You
Mhm.
know, all of this. We talk about everything. We
Okay,
want
okay, okay.
retribution. You know what I'm saying? We want all of this, but, and we want, we even get to the point to where we just want to let it go. But the reality is that, well, I'll say with me, it was hard for me to sit with the fact that it hurt.
It hurt.
Hmm.
That's good.
Why though?
It was hard because I didn't reckon, I didn't know what to call it.
Okay.
I didn't know what to call it. I knew I was angry about what happened. I knew I wanted to get back. I knew I was pissed for a long time. But I think, I feel like had I dealt with the fact that it hurt, I wouldn't have held on so long to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think I would. Well, that's just. I'm just. It's just me thinking. I don't think I would have held on to it for so long. But betrayal. The reality is that betrayal hurts. It hurts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It hurts, and
And it's a
because
deeper.
it's a deep hurt. It's a very deep hurt. Because you can even see. You can even see them betraying other people and never once think it would happen to you.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
You can see
Yeah.
how they move with other people, but because of your relationship with them, you would never dream that it would happen to you.
And that could be part of the denial.
That can be part of the denial.
Because me, not
Me.
me. You know what I'm saying? Even another part of the denial could be the fact that I allowed myself to love that hard, that it would even
Mm,
affect me to this
yeah.
degree. So I'm not even gonna call it hurt, because I'm not even gonna
Right.
admit that I was so into this friendship or
Hmm.
this relationship
Mhm.
that they penetrated me this much. So
I'm
I'll
humiliated.
lean to anger, because
And
to
humiliation. Yep.
I'll because if I had leaned to hurt, then that makes me look vulnerable.
Right.
And
Too
the last
vulnerable.
thing that
That's
I'm gonna
it.
do is be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So because I don't do that.
I don't do
So
Right.
that.
I don't do vulnerable. Now I do a lot
You
of
hit
things,
the
I
but
don't
I
do
don't do vulnerable.
vulnerability.
I'm not vulnerable. That's what I'm
Not
not. And
vulnerable.
so it becomes easier for you to, deny the fact that no, like, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I'm in fetal position hurt.
Hmm.
Like
Especially
go ahead.
go ahead. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
No, because I was gonna say, even, and I know this is was eons ago. Like when I broke up with like my boyfriend in college, like Troy. Like I think everybody has a Troy in their life, but like for almost 2 weeks, like I was in a fetal position, throwing up, just laying in bed, because
Wow.
I was that sick
I ain't had nobody have me throwing up.
that I was just,
And
and
I
I
hope
think
it
that's
ain't in my
because
future.
he was my first.
So
I think
don't do that over.
he was my okay.
Yeah.
So he was my first everything across the board. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know. And so like I was all in. Like so I was all in. And oh
And you
God,
was throwing up.
it really
And
hurt.
you weren't
I mean, I
pregnant.
wasn't going to class or nothing. Oh God, oh God. And then when I would see him on campus, like I would run the other way. Oh God, thank you.
Oh, it was bad.
Thank
Listen,
you,
and you weren't pregnant.
Yeah.
when I tell you he had my nose like this, like a smoker's gap. Oh
I
God.
mean, I didn't been like not to know throw it up, but I mean, of course, we all done been a fool for somebody, but I wasn't throwing up. That's deep. I'm
But yeah,
so
but I was just that hurt. I mean, we
yeah.
was
I
making
think I've
plans.
been deeply hurt,
Yeah.
but I didn't throw up. But I guess that was your manifestation of your hurt.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, like, that's deep.
Y'all was sick.
I
But
would
now I've never been like that after anybody else.
ever.
Ever. But if I could be honest, I don't think I loved anybody else like that.
Really? Wow. Woo, that's deep.
Like I don't think I've ever then I've loved some people, but I don't think I've been just like gone. Like I was gone. Like
we know you were throwing up.
God, I thank
And it was no pregnancy. We know you was gone.
Ooh, I had to get him up out of my system going. So, but I mean, that's it was a hurt. That was a hurt. So yeah, but
that was grief. That was grief.
That was grief. Okay. That was
that's
grief.
true.
That was
What
a
we
grief.
gonna say, Quiz?
Oh,
Yeah,
I was saying that, especially when you're a person that when you were talking about how easily or how you don't want to admit that it hurt you, especially when you're a person that don't really let people in. Mm-hmm. Now, it took me a long time to realize that I was that person because I was so nice to everyone. I really thought I was being embracing to everyone, but I realized that I really had a wall.
Like there was only so many people, and they had to be like literally blood or like a god brother or sister. Like I really didn't let people, because I kind of associated my whole life with ministry and serving people. So it was hard for me to really let people in my space that didn't want something from me. So it was really hard. Like today I had a moment. Like I'm listening to a word, and it hits me that all of this anger that I've had for the last week or so was because I was just hurt about something. Admitting that was hard, you know. And
Yeah.
when I released those tears just for that moment, because it didn't last long, I was good. I'm like, it wasn't even that deep, you know what I'm saying? But just realizing that sometimes when you've let people in that far, that it's okay to admit and to know that moving on sometimes is better than staying there, because that could cause more damage. And that was something that I've done, is overstayed, because I would rather deal, you know, I would rather stay comfortable, what I thought was comfort, even in the face of betrayal, because it was familiar, right? And so I would just stay in places that weren't good for me. But I realized that that caused more damage. That if I would have just stepped away and realized it just has changed, and there I can't get that back, because that betrayal was that deep. My expectation, I'm really, in a lot of situations, I have mourned or grieved my expectation, you know, of them, and that really hurt.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about you, Lynn?
Sometimes what hurt you the most, it is kind of what Queasy said, is because you have to realize that you allowed that person in.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna tell you something. There's not one person that I've experienced that with that God didn't check me and I overrode the check.
Mm.
Like there were times when
Yep.
when I come out of the situation, I can look back and I can see so clear
Pinpoint.
times that God clearly would show you stuff about people, but because you love them so much, you would literally talk yourself out of
Ooh.
it. You
Every
know what I'm
time.
saying? You would talk yourself out of what God showed you. There are, I mean, several people just popping up in my head right now. You know, it was things that God showed me, like He'd be like that right there. But you because you love Him, you just keep looking over it, looking over it, looking over it,
Yeah.
and then till the day comes when it just comes to a head. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And they can no longer pretend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like the big reveal, you know, but you've been seeing things all
All
along.
alone.
You know what I'm saying? Of, you know, disloyalty or, you know, of their character and things that just didn't add up. You know, it's not one time that I can look back on relationships that I've experienced that I can say that it caught me by complete surprise. It
Right.
did, because God will be showing me, but
Right.
because I love, when I love, I love. And not
Mhm.
only that, I'm an optimistic person. Like I always want to see the best out of in people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And one thing about me, I do not go by what other people tell me about somebody.
Right.
I experience people for myself. But there's a lot of situations where I walk through it to discover people for myself, and everything that people had told me, it was
What's
true.
the truth? Yep.
Yes. Yes,
I,
but still I refuse to judge a person by what somebody else has experienced with them. You know,
yeah.
I was walking with Chris. I was telling Chris and I walked a couple of miles, and we were come back home. I was telling him, we were talking about different specific people like in the past. And I was telling him, yeah, I did her logo, and yeah, I did this, and yeah, I did her flyers, and yeah, I did. And he was like, you did? I said, man, when I think about how much stuff I've done for people with no ulterior motive,
Right.
how much I've gave and sown to people that don't fool with me, don't talk to me for whatever reason. And I said, this is what the Lord has been telling me here lately, because I'm still a giver. I'm still a sower. That's just who I am. God said to me, don't let people change you, because I am the record keeper.
That's
Because
it.
the problem is you're looking for a harvest from the people that you sown to. And that's
Wow.
not going to be where your harvest is going to come.
Right.
Remember, everything that you do with the right spirit and the right heart and the purest intent, I, God, am keeping record. So he was like, don't hold grudges, don't hold offenses, keep it moving, because if you don't, you will allow people to change you into somebody that you're not. And remember that I am the record keeper. And I
Yep.
said, okay. And God had to tell me that because I have done so much for people. Oh my God. And I look back on it and I'm just like, they don't even fool with me. Even when Facebook memories come up, I'm just like the stuff that I've done and sold and exposed people to. I'm talking about them sold into their business just by putting their name out there. And I mean, they don't fool with me. You hear me at all.
I
But
say,
it's okay. You know, I'm not going to let people change who I am.
Right.
You got to continue to be who you are.
yeah, I'll say another challenge that I recall experiencing during my journey through grief is when it's vacillating between what the offense, what actually happened, and questioning every experience I had with them.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like even the
Yeah.
good times. That's what the not dealing with the hurt was doing to me. Questioning, because two truths can exist, right? We
Right.
know that two truths can exist. Yes, they can. Yes, the offense can be so great and so detrimental to the relationship that it causes a sever, but that does not mean that the time you spent with those individuals
Mhm.
uh
Not valuable.
right wasn't valuable, or that it wasn't meaningful. You know what I
Right.
mean? and
Mhm.
and so I and so making my peace with that,
Mhm.
Mhm.
it was hard because I'm trying to, they might didn't mean that,
The whole thing
I'm
was fake.
playing.
The whole thing
Right,
was fake.
they fake, they phony. Oh, the whole
Mhm.
situation is playing over in my head. And so what I had to be reminded of is that betrayal happens in a moment. It takes a time for it to be revealed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Judah, you spitting wax this tonight.
Okay, say that again.
Yeah, betrayal happens in a moment. It does, but it does take some time for it to be revealed,
That's good.
right? Uh,
I'm gonna use that.
it takes some time for it to be revealed,
Mhm.
and God loves us so much that He will, uh, like Liam said earlier, I saw flags.
Mhm.
I misinterpret them as white as opposed to red, but
I thought they were pink.
I thought they were pink. I thought they were green. Go ahead. Go ahead. But we do, like, there. If you think back, there are times when you get an unction. You felt something and you've dismissed it for the sake of the relationship. And I'll say for me, I can say for me that the hope was that the same way I, you know, uh, kind of dismissed and waved off what I was feeling. I would feel like maybe I wish they had waved off the temptation of betraying me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That was a wish of mine. I wish that maybe, because I know I felt it, but I just wish that they would have, even though it was they was gonna do it. Maybe I wish it was something in them would have made them change their mind about doing it.
And let me tell you something that I've learned too. That some people have been mistreated so much in their life or have encountered so many things that weren't authentic, that when they meet somebody who really don't want nothing from them, who
It's
really
hard.
just want the best for them, they
Mhm.
don't even have the capacity to be in the friendship or
Right.
relationship.
It's hard.
because they're so used to everybody doing something, wanting something from them. And when
Mhm.
somebody comes on the scene who don't want nothing from you, just
Yeah.
want the best for you, they really don't even have the capacity to be in that kind of authentic friendship or relationship.
Yeah.
They really don't. And I've learned that like some people don't even know how to be friends with really good people.
That's
Like
true.
they're good at the core of them. They
Mhm.
don't want anything from you. They don't have no ulterior motive. They really sincerely want the best. Some people don't even know how to handle authentic relationships because every relationship they've ever been in has been toxic.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when somebody comes along that's just really good at the core, they really don't even have the capacity for that kind of relationship. And that's something I've learned. Like some people don't even know how to steward real friendships.
Yeah.
That's
Some people
true.
don't even know how to steward real relationships because
That's so true.
everything they've ever been a part of is distorted.
Yeah. And I have wasted a lot of time trying to figure out that fact right there. Like, or I also was thinking today, like when we decided that's what we were talking about, I was thinking about how some people the hurt was they disconnected without telling me why. Like they just
Oh yeah.
stopped,
We talked.
just totally just disconnecting. And but what I did realize, not all of them, but some of them liked me better when I was broken. Like
Yeah.
they clapped for me and they were like, I see all the amazing things. They saw my potential sometime before I did. But when I started walking it out, it was like I can't deal with that. And it became competition for them. So that could no longer be a relationship that I could invest in because I don't do competition. I don't do that, stuff like that.
Like
So
I'm
they
in the
just
stands cheering
disconnected.
you on.
Yeah.
Like
All
it
that,
ain't no
like
race.
really cheering you on with
I
no ulterior
mean,
motive.
right, right. But I guess it kind of goes back to what Lynn was saying that like people they just don't have the capacity.
That's
Like they
true.
don't
Mhm.
even, and they can't even conceptualize that you can have a friend who doesn't want anything from you but for you to win.
Yeah.
Like that's so foreign to them. You know what I'm saying? So they go into the friendship expecting to be betrayed, expecting to be rejected, expecting to be hurt. And so they can never show up as their authentic self because they're too busy on guard and not really living in the moment of the friendship. And
And
that's
they
why
become the betrayer.
they become the betrayer
They
because they're
Wow.
become
so
the
busy
betrayer.
trying not to be betrayed.
Yeah, they become the
And they
betrayer.
become,
Hmm.
wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lynn, when you were talking about how you've done so much for people, like and then no longer in your life, it made me think about something my pastor in California said years ago. He said that you'll never know it, but some people will resent you because they needed your help,
Mm.
they needed your assistance, and you were able to assist them, but they'll resent you. They need your help, but they'll
Oh, they
resent you
resent
for
you
helping
for
them.
help. Wow. That's toxic.
And that, and I couldn't wrap my mind like how you gonna need me for help? How you gonna ask me for help? Need me for help? Ask me for help, and then
And then you get
resent
mad.
me
Because I'm able to do what you asked me to do.
because I'm able to do what you asked me to do.
Mhm.
I
He
mean, but
said,
I think, I mean, so let me ask you this. Have you all ever been in a situation where somebody could help you, but because it was that person, you didn't ask?
Yeah. I feel like I have.
Sure. I can't recall off the top of my head, but I'm
let
sure.
give me a little bit more, Pauletta. Give me a little bit more.
Like, like, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say that there's someone older than you. She could possibly be a spiritual mother, okay? But because of her, you like, I ain't even gonna connect to her. But there's a potential that there could be something that she could give you. But because of what you've seen, because of what she's put out there, you just like
what? Like what you mean? Like what she's put out there, what you seen?
like her character, you know, and I'm not talking about things that you've heard. I'm talking about things you've visibly seen yourself.
Right.
Okay. But you have an unction. There's something that I could possibly gain from her. But you just be like, no.
What I have to learn too, and I'm learning this. Let me not say what I've learned. What I'm learning is God will place what you need sometimes in people you don't like.
Yep.
Because what we have to learn is every place that we get what we need from it does not have to be a friendship developed.
Mm-hmm.
It just sometimes need to be, I need to get what I need from that person. Not in a using standpoint. That's not what I'm talking about. But it just needs to be an exchange and move on.
And move on.
It don't need to be a friendship. I ain't got to be their buddy. We don't have to go out and do lunch. But that person has something that I need.
Mm-hmm. And I think
sometimes we have to look over some things to get the thing that we need.
Mm-hmm. And I think the problem is that we pitch tents in places that we're supposed to be sojourning through.
Right. And but I will say,
you know what I'm saying?
I felt like a user because I didn't build any additional connection from that. I myself, even though I know my intention was not to be a leech, it was not to use, it wasn't anything like that. But I knew I didn't trust this person to be in relationship with them, but I trusted the information that they had that I needed to glean. I needed to glean from them. And I did that. But after I got what I needed, I was very appreciative. I left the door open. If you ever need me, call me. But I did feel a way. I'm not gonna lie. I did feel a way about doing it that way. I did, but it was not my intention. Mm-hmm. My intention was not to use. My intention was not to be a leech. That was not my intention whatsoever. I just didn't trust that. And so I had two competing feelings happening. I had conflict. Like, oh no, I don't trust you for that because you're a liar. Mm-hmm. But but I did. They were a wealth of knowledge though, and I needed some advice. And the advice that they were was they were a subject matter expert in it, mm-hmm. And I needed to glean a whole step by step. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I got what I needed, but and granted, they didn't feel no way about it.
Right. It was just you.
It was me. Because I am not used to reaching out for people for assistance and it not being reciprocated.
Right.
Or me receiving something for free, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Now, if there was a currency exchange, then I probably wouldn't probably felt nothing about it because I was paying for a service. But because it was so much information, it was just what I needed, I felt a bit of obligation. But what I had witnessed and what I had seen was like, nah, you can't be trusted like that.
Right.
I can't trust you like. But I did feel bad. I did.
I don't know.
You would have been there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I think we all have been guilty, and because you expect it to come in this package, you know what I'm saying? And it does. It's kind of like Nathan in the Bible. Yeah. Like he didn't want to dip it. Not Nathan. Nathan, the one who had leprosy. He was like this chief warrior, and he had leprosy. And Elijah was like, "Hey, just go down in the Jordan River." Like he didn't want to do that because the Jordan River was
Girl,
so
nasty.
filthy.
Right.
It was so filthy, but that same thing that was filthy had the potential to heal him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's something we've all been guilty of, just, having our expectations. And sometimes our expectations are the very thing that can let us down.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's supposed to come like this, and that's not how it comes.
Right.
And that's why I say,
and it's a humbling experience too. And that's another reason why we don't want to accept the help from that individual or in that place, is because there's a piece of us that has to be humbled.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you have to admit that what I thought is not what it is. Because I'm perceiving it this way. And for me to come to you and I perceive you this way, is to admit that I was wrong on some level. Not totally, but some level. And so, nobody wants to chip away at their pride.
Robin said,
Absolutely.
God uses people, but everything is not of God. That's true.
Now that's true.
That's good.
Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody ain't your partner.
You said what, Queasy?
I said everybody ain't your friend, everybody ain't your partner. But it takes maturity and experience sometimes to learn it. Because I have to say, coming into it, that I ain't know that. So I got hurt a lot because I was trying to make everybody my friend and my partner. And that wasn't what it was supposed to be. So hearing that for the first time, like that was Lynn, the first person I ever heard say that. I was like, oh shoot. But I did deal with the guilt too, that like Juna said, because I'm immediately like, I don't like to ask nobody to come and do anything for me. Like you talking about, I didn't know it was pride though. But I don't like to ask nobody to come sing background for me unless I got money for them. Because I guess I've been in a position of going to go do that and never nobody, ever say anything. So I try to overcompensate. And there are people that say, girl, as much as you've done, for me, I don't mind you, doing that. But that pride in me can be. But I didn't know that was the name of it.
Now don't change that though, Queasy, because now don't change that. Let them tell you. Don't you worry about it, okay? Don't you dare.
That's why, but I couldn't even accept that when they said don't worry about it, because I was still trying to figure out.
But even in you overcompensating like that's hurting you.
Yeah.
Because now you're pulling resources from a place that's already dry.
Absolutely. Every time.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, when people want to help, accept the help. Because we pray, God, send me help, send me help.
Ooh.
And then he send you help, and you like, okay, well, let me see, how am I gonna pay him? And they're telling you, hey man, don't worry about it. Like I'm telling you, don't worry about it. But you still trying to perform pre-calculus in your mind, trying to see how I'm gonna pay for it. And some people just want to sow. That's their way of sowing. Yeah. Like they want to help, they want to be a part, they see the vision, they're buying into your vision. And that's what you want, people around you who buy into the vision. I was just telling one of my clients a couple of weeks ago, like, hey, this baby that you have, don't share it with everybody. Because some people still don't use a hand sanitizer. Some people coughing on your baby. They're going to be doing all kinds of things. Just keep this to yourself. Yeah. Because everybody cannot handle the baby. You're going to know when you birth the baby who buys into it. You're going to know because something in them is going to leap. And it's gonna cause them to be like, oh, well, then, and bring a blanket and bring Pampers, and instead of being like, well, why you put that on her?
Let me tell you something too that I've learned, especially in some situations that I've dealt with here recently, is that God has revealed to me certain things about people, but he still wouldn't let me act. Like he just allowed me, he made me just allow it to play out. And I couldn't change the way that I was treating them, even though I knew. All right. And he reminded me of how when Jesus said in that room with the disciples, and I'm not trying to be churchy, but I want to use this as an example. He knew who the betrayer was when he
He
said it.
did.
Yep.
Okay. But God never allowed him to reveal it, who the person was. He didn't put Judas out the group.
He didn't mistreat him.
He didn't mistreat him. And I'm telling you, literally, the Lord had to tell me, you're gonna have to let Judas hang himself.
Ooh.
You remain the same. Like this year, I was fully aware of who Judas was.
Whew.
But I had to remain loving, kind, and the same.
Yeah. I'm working on
Either it's gonna be a Judas or a Haman. Either way, the head gonna roll.
But I mean, that's something that that's God really maturing you,
Really.
because He will show you the offender and then tell you don't change how you treat them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm telling you, that's something that I learned. You know, had to walk through this year. I knew it clearly, and I still had to walk out and be kind, and until God told me. You understand what I'm saying? To pull the rug, or the string, or to separate. I couldn't handle it the way I wanted to handle it. And that goes back to when God said, I am the record keeper.
Yeah.
And I think it was for you, but I think it was also for them.
Oh
for
yeah.
them to see she never changed. I was the one
Yeah.
who was after the donkey. You know what I'm saying? I was the one that did the betrayal. I was the one that did this, but she
And
never.
let me tell you something. People may never say it, but there
That's
are people who
They
grieve
never
the loss
come.
of you too.
Yeah,
Hear me.
absolutely.
There are people who grieve the loss of you who will never drop their pride and come back and apologize,
Nope.
who will never come back and say you were right, who will never come back and say I messed up. They will never say anything because of the spirit of pride. But I am telling you right now, there are people grieving there are people grieving you who know they'll never get another you. And
They
I
better be
keep
glad
telling
I'm.
people,
Oh God. They
you
better
said,
be
well,
glad I'm gonna keep us. They said they better be glad I'm gonna keep.
no, I'm for real. I'm
No,
for real.
I
Because
mean,
everybody is not replaceable. Everybody didn't get a Jesus. Only 12 people did.
Whew.
Okay.
And some things you ain't gonna never get on the level that God
on that
gave
level.
you ever again.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, there are people who are literally grieving that they screwed up over you, and they will never, ever, in the spirit of pride, will never let them admit it.
I ain't gonna say nothing though. I ain't gonna tell you a little secret.
I know that for a fact.
I ain't gonna tell you a little secret.
Right. And you be like, do you know if I wasn't who I am, what I could do to you?
I could rip your
You
whole
ain't-
family would be tore up. I'm talking about from the children on to the grandmother. But I ain't gonna say nothing. Because I got integrity. Oh, but what I want to do.
Yeah. Why
But I'm
you
Yeah,
gonna
have
when
to
I
be
feel like
quiet?
I want to, I just gonna say it, but ain't nobody in the room. I just talk like somebody up in here. And let me tell you. And I said, for the sake of being able to say it, why you?
Round
I
here.
said, and won't say no. But ain't nobody in the room. Can't nobody hear it but me and God. I ain't gonna tell nobody. But I talk to myself and I tell myself over and over again, all your business.
But you know what? That's a level of integrity that you in maturity. Because even in these situations, circumstances, God matures us. And we learn and we become better. And we learn next go around when he show you something, believe it. Don't talk yourself out of what he's showing you.
Yeah.
Don't be telling yourself, no, it's what it is.
Did you know? I told y'all, Lord said it's true because I revealed it, not because there was an admission.
Come on.
True, because I
I'm
revealed it.
you. I'm gonna sew into you tonight. You
It
need
was
some
true.
pistachios.
Where's your cash out?
It's true because I revealed it,
Not
not
because there was an
because they
admission.
admitted it. Oh my God, that's good.
And that's
That's
what you have
true.
to stand on.
That's good. Julie, you've been spending some knowledge tonight. You
And
must have
there
been
were times when I thought about it, because this is the thing. Remember now, like Jesus chose his disciples. And so I'm like, so did he miss it? No, Judas missed it. But he was a part of the plan too.
Because the reality is that had there not been a betrayal,
There would have been no elevation.
You better go in. You better.
Woo!
There would be no
God
right
is so
hand seat
strategic. He
on the
does what
side of
I
the
did from
Father.
my beginning. You
There would
need
be
a
no
betrayal
redemption.
because there is still a
There would
plan.
be no
Always.
salvation package. There would be no me and you. There would be no nothing.
Oh,
Because
But it's
somebody
true
got
though.
to do it. Because somebody you love ain't gonna turn you up. Wait
But
a
this is
minute.
what I need y'all to understand. All 12, and we're not trying to get churchy, y'all, but all 12 of the people that he chose had character flaws.
All 12.
Not one of them was perfect. No, I mean, not one. Not one. Like, oh my God, like not one.
Even Peter's denial was necessary. Because there was no way he could be the rock that the church was going to be built on had he told them who he really was. He would have been killed as well. So the rejection was even necessary. All a plan.
Mhm.
All a plan.
And we have to realize that for our own lives. Yeah, we grieve people. We grieve relationships, we grieve situations, we grieve circumstances, but we all have to understand that every one of them was a part of where God is taking us.
You better
And
bring
what
this
God
thing back
all
to
of
a
them
circle.
necessary.
is how we handle the situation
Come
and
on.
how we handle the people.
Yep.
Julie,
You better, I
You better spin that block.
and bring us back home.
So,
Come
question:
on.
could you ever tell your betrayer thank you?
Oh, wait a minute now. Please, that's another
Hey,
subject.
when you are, now you hold up.
It's a question
Hold
though.
up.
you better.
Could you, when you realized that it was necessary, could you ever be like, thank you? You know what I'm saying? Like we say, I appreciate you. You know, we preach, we say, I appreciate you for doing that. I appreciate you. You don't know how much but can you really
Face to face
tell somebody who has betrayed you and won't even admit it? Thank you. You can. I don't know if I'm there yet.
You can.
You think I could?
Yeah, you can, because you never, when the situation is presented with itself, you'd be amazed what you'll say.
Nikki
I
said
say,
yes.
friend, you did what you came for.
That's
And
good
I thank
enough. That's good enough.
Because that's what Jesus told Judas.
Yep.
Friend, do what you came for.
Go do it and quickly.
And do it quickly.
Quickly.
Friend,
Go on now.
do what you
Like,
came for.
get this party started, baby.
Just,
I got something
Things
to
to
do.
do. I gotta say,
Nikki said, yep, thank you, because I never would have discovered the needed me with them. That's good. There were
That's
parts
true.
of me that never would have became what it became had not I experienced what I experienced. So
That's good.
So does anybody have any questions? We wrapping it up at 45 minutes almost.
That's what I'm talking about.
Any questions, any comments, y'all? Thank y'all so much for being on. Listen, what I need everybody to do right at this very moment is hit the share button. Hit the share button. If you have not listened to part 2 of the impact of grief, please go listen to it. Please go listen to it, because I am telling you, it is so good. Our next episode is coming out next week, and I believe it's forgiveness. So you already know
Ooh.
what that's about to be about. I believe it's forgiveness. So you guys, thank y'all so much for being on tonight. We appreciate y'all for hanging in here with us like y'all do every other Monday. Continue to listen, continue to share, continue to subscribe to all our social media platforms. You can follow us on Instagram at Her Lounge Podcast. You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube at the Her Lounge Podcast. And you can email us at herloungepodcast@gmail.com. I believe. I hope I'm telling you that right. But y'all continue to follow us, continue to share. We love you guys, and we'll see you soon. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.